Hello, and welcome to this EC Aquatics video. So this is my little 3-gallon desktop aquarium, and it's gone through several iterations over the years, and I recently dismantled it a couple weeks ago. If you haven't seen that video, I'll pop up a card to it. But now I'm going to transform this into a Asian river aquarium for the Chili Rasboras that inhabited this tank previously. First, we have to start out with our substrate system, and for that we are going to need a nutrient layer. Alright, so for our nutrient layer, I'm using my favorite technique right over here with me putting a whole bunch of Aquasoil into this little plastic mesh bag. As you can see, I have used this bag before, and plant roots have no trouble getting in and out of the little mesh. It's plenty big enough for the roots to go through. Unfortunately, I kind of needed 2 bags for the length of this tank, and I only had 1, so I'm going to be using root tabs on this side where I'll be planting. It's not as good, but it'll work. Root tabs provide pretty much the same nutrients as the Aquasoil provides in this bag. So I would have preferred to use Aquasoil bags throughout, but I don't have the bags and I can't really order them in time. So I'm sticking with root tabs on that side and Aquasoil on the other side. Now we're going to add in our sand layer, and for that I'm going to be using a mixture of what we've got left in this bucket, which is what I previously used in the tank, and this stuff in this bag right over here, which is similar color. I'm going to put this stuff on the bottom and then use this stuff right over the top. Alrighty, now that the planting is done, I've got several pieces of driftwood right over here, and they're all kind of long and wavy shaped that I'm going to try and play around with as if they're kind of fallen branches into a river. So kind of laying them across the tank, and I'm just going to try and see what I can come up with here. Alright, so that's kind of the thing that I've come up with. I think it looks really, really great. And this is from my vantage point. As you can see, it really kind of provides a real awesome sense of depth. I don't know if you guys can really tell on the camera, but from my view, it has a great, real sense of depth kind of thing going throughout the tank. Maybe it's not that kind of river vibe that I may have been going for, but I really like the way this turned out. And that's kind of, you know, the beauty of aquascaping is you never really know how things are gonna turn out until you actually get your wood and your rock in the tank. I think this looks absolutely amazing. You never really know how things are gonna turn out until you actually, you know, get things in the tank and play around and see how pieces fit together and what catches your eye. You may go into a scape with one plan and come out with something just completely different, but as long as you like it, right? It doesn't have to follow any rules or anything like that. Like this, I was planning on having everything kind of come from this direction over here and all kind of flowing this way. But I tossed this piece in there, and that I thought that looked really well complementing there. And I kind of had this same kind of line, but another big piece right over there. And I think this looks just absolutely amazing. So just, you know, play around, always play around with your scape, even if you have something planned out. Always play around with it because you may see something different that you like even more, and it comes out even better than you could have hoped. Now I'm going to have to lock these pieces down together onto some rocks so they don't actually float up and ruin this awesome looking scape here. Alrighty, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the cyanoacrylate superglue gel, which is completely safe for aquariums. It goes into this inert plastic, and I'm going to glue these little pebbles to different contact points on the wood so that these pebbles weigh the wood down and cause it to not float up when we fill this tank up. Alrighty, so it's now been several hours and the glue has all completely set. So now it's time for us to plant this tank up. And for that, I'm going to be using a wide variety of plants, which are all native to Southeast Asia, where this is going to be pretty much a biotope tank. Maybe not exactly, but pretty close. So I'm going to be using plants that are all native to that area. And first things first is going to be Java Fern, which is native to Indonesia, the island of Java more specifically, hence the name Java Fern. And this is an epiphyte plant that I'm going to glue down onto the wood in the back left-hand corner. It's really easy to grow. It's, you know, a staple of the aquarium hobby. I love it. It's probably my favorite plant. I use it like in every single one of my scapes pretty much. And I'm just gonna glue it right down in the back left-hand corner. And you all should know the drill by now with the Java Ferns, but in case you don't, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our cyanoacrylate superglue gel, same thing that we just used to glue down the rocks, and we're gonna take it and we're gonna put just a little dollop, right where we're gonna plant our plant, and then we are going to take our Java Fern and hold it down, and just hold it for about 10 seconds. And this variety of Java Fern is also the mini variety, so it won't get nearly as tall, which makes it perfect for this type of tank. I think it's officially like the Java Fern Narrow Mini or something like that, so it's perfect for these small tanks. Won't get nearly as large as the big Java Ferns will. And our next plant is going to be Java Moss. This stuff is just awesome. It's pretty much bulletproof as long as you can keep it free of algae. It'll just grow. It grows slowly, but it's awesome. Once again, it's also native to Indonesia, the island of Java as well. And we're gonna glue it to all these branches, just kind of cover them in this moss, make them nice and green. And we're also gonna use super glue for that. I'll just get in here and put these dollops all across this piece of wood. And then we're gonna get in here with our moss, just in these sections, and just kind of glue it down. Similarly to how we did with our Java Fern. That's all we've got for the Java Fern for now. I've ordered way too much of it. I actually didn't think I got that much, but it's a giant amount. But that's really all I want to cover right now with the Java Fern, because it's going to keep growing and I'm going to have to keep trimming it, and I don't really want to cover the entirety of the wood. I want to actually see some. And our next plant is going to be Cryptocoryne Tropica, which is like a smaller version of Cryptocoryne, and it's in a tissue culture thing. And we're going to plant this all throughout the foreground of our tank. And to plant tissue culture plants, this comes in there's a little jelly that's on the bottom. You're gonna just rinse this off, and then you're gonna rip these sections apart from this big plant to plant it. All right, so I've got all the gel rinsed off of this big clump, but we don't want to actually plant this whole clump. So we're just gonna take like little offshoots of this, and we're just gonna plant them all throughout the foreground. I forgot I got one more epiphyte here. This is a Buce species, or a Buce species, and it's another epiphyte plant. So same like the Java Fern, we're gonna glue this down onto our hardscape. I'm just gonna glue it right on the right-hand side of the scape. So same technique that we used with the Java Fern. Just take the glue, put down a little dollop, and then we're gonna take the Buce and just hold it for about 10 seconds. And lastly, for our planting, I've got a couple of different bunches of different Rotala species. I can't remember exactly which ones they are, but I'll pop their actual names to them up on the screen as I'm planting them. I'm just going to plop these just right in the background of our tank. And I've got these connected to these little lead weights that'll keep them from floating up, because there's a whole bunch of stems here, and this is what I found, wrapping them in a little bit of like filter floss and then having a plant weight around them really makes planting these things, these stem plants, really easy and gives you a instant, like really bushy, bunchy look. You don't really have to fuss around with planting each individual stem into the ground. Alrighty, so now the tank is fully planted, as you can see. I think this looks absolutely amazing. I've got stems in the back, all these crypts right up front, the driftwood's covered in moss, and I've got left this like little pathway here that's completely bare of planting. I'm going to try and keep that pathway open, kind of have like two different sides of this tank. I think this tank looks just absolutely phenomenal. I couldn't really ask for a better scape. Came out better than I ever imagined it would. I think it just looks absolutely amazing. I really enjoy it. I'm really enjoying it right now, just seeing that it's set up, but it'll look even better when it's filled up, so that's what I'm gonna do right now. So there's the tank all filled up. Unfortunately, one of my glues did not hold, and so that piece of wood has now popped up. But luckily, the rest of the glue did hold, so that piece of wood and that piece of wood have stayed, and that piece of wood didn't completely float up because there's still one rock holding that end down. So I'll just leave it for a week or so, and it will be completely fine. Other than that, I added in some dechlorinator and some fertilizer, but I did that off camera because that's, it's kind of boring. No one really wants to see that. Other than that, I think this looks pretty good. No plants floated up. Everything else looks great. I'm gonna attach a heater to this, and I'm just gonna leave it for a week or so before I come back and add the fish and give you guys another update in a week when everything has kind of sort of really settled down and everything looks a whole lot better. Alrighty, so it has now been 2 weeks since I set this tank up, and as you can see, everything's doing really well. All the plants are starting to grow a whole bunch, especially these stem plants right back here. They're really taking off. The moss is doing well, and the crypts are also doing quite well. As you can see right over here, we've got some crypt melt, which means that they are settling in. They are starting to convert to their underwater form, which is great, which means they're doing well and loving life. So now we're going to go add in our fish, and for that we're going to be adding in a group of 4 Chili Rasboras, and hopefully I'll be adding to that school, sometime soon. Alrighty, so I've got all 4 of our Chili Rasboras in this net. They've been acclimating for about 30 minutes, so they are all good. Temperatures are all matching, so now they are going to go into their new home. So we're probably not going to see them for a while. They do need to settle into their new home, but I'm going to give them about a couple hours actually, and then I'll come back and update you guys on how they're doing. They obviously need to settle in, new home, and they're skittish fish by nature, so they do prefer, planted aquariums and lots of hiding spaces. So skittish fish in a new home means that they're, going to be a little bit more concerned and will take a little bit longer to settle in than something not nearly as skittish. Alrighty, so it has now been a couple days since I added in the Chili Rasboras, and they are doing really well. As you can see, apologies for the glare, but this tank's doing really nicely. I've given it a couple of water changes, but they're producing almost no ammonia. But as you can see, they're doing well. They're swimming around. Their colors are all nice. Bellies are nice and full from the food that I've been feeding. I've just been feeding them flake food. But they seem very happy in here. And I'm going to add more than the ones that I have in here, hopefully very soon. So if you don't want to miss me adding those, and then be sure to subscribe and turn on your post notification bell so you don't miss that. So yeah, I think that's all I've got for you all today. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and I will see you all